lovely people, Nina here. So last week I was talking about all the new books that I got that I wanted to read, and this one was one that I talked about how it's new but borrowed. I'm borrowed it from a younger sister because both my sisters had read the first two, and they were anticipating the third one, and they were excited about it. So I was like, well, I feel left out, so I want to read it, and I want to start the series. So I started this last week, I believe, and I finished it literally today. And so this is very popular on TikTok. It is like one of the most talked about maybe books at the moment, or if not fantasy books. It's very popular, and I wanted to see what all the hype was. My sisters had both read it. They're like, we're getting the third one, and I was like, well, I need to be included. So I finished this. Did I like this? No. I'm so sad because I had anticipated, not that I was like, I don't like to put like my expectations too high, just kind of like, I don't know, but everyone had been talking about it, and I was like, it has to be like the book, and I just didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I did like this from the standpoint of I thought it was like a good story to like escape with, and not like, because there's just a lot going on in the world right now in the US with like politics, and I just needed like a mental like escape, which is fair because so this was like a great fantasy book to kind of do that romantasy, I guess. Do you call it, is it like romantasy because it has the rom-com-ish element in it? Fantasy book to just escape and not deal with the real world for like a little bit. So I did enjoy it from that standpoint. I thought the world was kind of fun. The idea of like magic is always fun. I didn't love it though. There were pieces in this that reminded me of like Twilight. It's going to be a very unpopular opinion, but that's fine. Agree to disagree. Okay, first of all, the name Xaden, didn't like it. But the way she is with Xaden, I'm assuming, I didn't give a background of what this is about. But the story is about a girl named Violet who's supposed to be in the scribe quadrant like her dad was, but her mom essentially forces her into the dragon riders quadrant, and it's a lot more dangerous and a lot riskier, and her like sister, basically she doesn't have a choice to go, and her sister prepares her for it, yada yada. She goes, there's magic, there's a battle. It's your basic romantasy type. She meets a boy named Xaden, falls in love. Short summary. And her friend Dane is there, and I hate Dane, and Dane is so problematic and annoying, and I don't know, I didn't love it. When I said some of this reminded me of Twilight, there's a whole scene in here where she talks about like Xaden is like, I can't love you, I'm dangerous or something, I don't know, and I was like, okay, Edward and Bella, we're just gonna and there is another part too in this where she risks her life on the parapet just so Xaden comes and finds her, and I was like, this is New Moon. Like, I know like we would maybe draw inspiration, that makes sense, and like it's a fantasy, so there's only so much you can do, but I was like, this reminds me of New Moon in a not good way. There was also, my sisters and I kind of joked with the amount of times that she is like broken. She breaks her knee, she breaks her arm, she is stabbed, like there's all of this like that happens. She's constantly wrapping her knee. There's healers. Like, why is she always so broken when there's healers and like magic and ways for her to not have to be constantly wrapping her knees? It's like mentioned a lot in this. I was like, I don't think that's necessary. There were just like a few, I don't know, details that I didn't love it. And I base books on like, will I read it again? No. Am I going to read the second one? Yeah, sure. It'll be another kind of good escape fantasy world. And I'll probably read the third too, because it just came out. So like, yeah, I'll read this first or the second and third one. I don't know what to think though, because I just didn't love this. So now I'm kind of worried about the second one. Also, can we talk about how in this they like are constantly killing the characters, which doesn't really make sense to me. It kind of reminded me of what's that book with Divergent, where they basically have to survive to get to their like little quadrant thing. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Divergent when Tris picks Dauntless and she has to survive to get on the train or whatever. Like that, there's the characters in this have to survive their training. But it like doesn't make sense to me that they're killing so many of the characters off, like a lot of the characters off right away. And you're like supposed to be attached to them, I guess, but you're not, because you're like, oh, they just died. Okay. There's like not enough information for you to be really like attached to the characters. And this is a spoiler, but when Liam dies, I was supposed to be like sad, and I was kind of just like, okay. I don't know. I just felt like there wasn't enough material or something in this to make me feel really super attached to the characters. And I think it's just because so many of them die. And it reminded me kind of Divergent, like I had said, where like they have to survive to advance to be like in the war. But like it was like a lot of the characters. My last little complaint is the amount of times she says Onyx eyes. Now, I listened to the audiobook with this, which I feel like helped me because I don't know if I would have understood all of the wording because it's fantasy, so there's a lot of like, I don't know, some of the words are harder to pronounce because it's like made up, because fantasy, obviously. And so listening to how the names were supposed to be pronounced was helpful. I did not like that she kept saying I was looking to his onyx eyes. His onyx eyes stared into me. I was like, we can, like, I get why, but like, we don't need to do this. Also, the last like 90 pages, no, not even 70 pages, are when she's like, I'm in love with him. You're telling me, I know it's not a romance book, it's fantasy, but like this whole book, she's like, he's really attractive because he's really good looking. And then this last like 70-ish pages is where it takes for her to be like, I'm in love with him. I couldn't vibe with this. I know so many people love it, and I love that for them. I think that that's great, and everyone should love what they want to read. It just wasn't my cup of tea, which is fine. However, I will be reading the second one, and probably the third one, just because, like, I want to finish the series, and I will review those as well. Probably next week I'll have the second one done, so I'll bring that here, and then we'll see when I get around to the third one. But yeah, that's Fourth Wing. I say if you want an escape that is fantasy and not about the real world and just kind of a good story-esque ish, depending on your opinion, try Fourth Wing. I don't understand quite why everyone hypes it up so much, but I had to read it to see. So that is my little book review for this week. I kind of enjoyed it. It was a nice escape. Like, I don't like rating books because I feel like that's not fair, but like maybe 5 out of 10 stars ish. Yeah. Let me know if you've read this. I'm assuming a lot of people have, just because it's so popular and so many people love it. So let me know down below if you've read this. If you want to read it, I say sure, give it a try. Go check it out from your local library. I tried to find the second one at my local library, and it has been checked out for like, there's like multiple copies and everyone seems to be reading it right now. So I might have to read the ebook of that. We'll see. But yeah, if you want, give it a read and let me know down below what, if you've read this, what you think, and if you haven't read it, if you are thinking about reading it, yeah, let me know. That is it for this week's video, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!